Hi, this is Darren Orff.
And I'm Anthony Viducci.
And this is another episode of Decoded with Popular Mechanics, where we talk about the week in tech.
So what are we talking about?
Well, luckily this week we are not talking about virtual reality or wearables.
That's fantastic.
So I know, it's like usually our talking points, but let's go ahead and get into it. So
you went to an event?
I did go into an event
Where'd
on
you go?
Wednesday. So Amazon made a big announcement, and it's actually been rumored for a while now that they've been wanting to release their own set-top device.
Yep,
and that's exactly what they did. They released the Fire TV.
And we got one?
And we got one. We've been testing since we got it on Wednesday.
Mhm.
And to
And
give you an idea of what it looks like, it's this small, almost like coaster-sized device.
It looks like a portable DVD player for a laptop. That's about
But
the size
it's even
of it.
smaller.
Yeah,
I mean,
tiny.
it's smaller than a disc. It's like super, super tiny. It's got a quad-core processor. It streams 1080p. And it comes with its own little small remote. It's got Bluetooth connectivity.
And the joystick. Controller.
Yes,
right?
and because we'll get to that in a
Yep.
second. Anyway, so it's interesting. I think set-top devices are interesting in the fact that there's so many of them. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, you've been playing with this one. Do you think it can replace the other ones?
well, you have to think about exactly what you're getting a set-top device for. So you have the Roku and the Chromecast. The Roku stick and the Chromecast are just sticks. I mean, they're not meant to be the all-encompassing solution that Amazon's come up with.
Okay.
Now, Amazon's come up with a compelling argument for their device. At under $100, it's got gaming, it's got television, it's got movies, and it's got a decent selection considering it just came out.
Sure. And if you're synced up with Amazon Prime, all those movies are right there for you.
Now,
What did they have, like 40,000, did they say?
They said
Something like
40,000 with Amazon
Yeah.
Prime, and they still have thousands of games by the end of the month.
that? Yeah.
And
And we were checking it out before, and it looks pretty good. I mean, quality streaming's good.
I don't really like the gaming controller,
Okay.
but it's definitely a device that I think, if you're a hardcore gamer, you're going to get Xbox. You're going to get
Yeah,
PS4.
this is casual gaming.
Yeah, so this is for the casual gamer who
Mhm.
kind of wants an all-in-one experience for a cheap price.
Okay.
It's a compelling argument. I think it's going to do pretty well.
I think if you're an Amazon subscriber, it's a no-brainer. For $99, you should have it. Right?
But Apple TV does have a device that's coming out as well. So
Right. Well, let's see if they do the same thing. If they allow gaming on it.
yeah,
millions of
that'll
games
be
on
an
there. That'll be
important aspect.
the big aspect.
So next we're going to talk about, speaking of Apple,
Yeah.
we're going
Let's
to
go
talk
on.
about Apple and Samsung decided to go round 2 on patent infringement cases.
Yay!
It seems to
You know
be
how I feel about this.
their favorite pastime. What's interesting?
Because they stopped innovating.
Yes. Well, what's interesting about
They're just
this?
watching now.
Well, I know you hate Apple,
It's
but
not about hate. It's about, come on, make something exciting. Don't just make pretty icons and frosted glass look. Do something that actually puts function back into the phone.
well, this is about older technologies. This is about
Right.
the original patents on the smartphone that they released back when Apple released iPhone, and there
Yeah.
was no Android yet.
Right.
So really what this is a proxy war via Samsung to
Right.
get to Google.
Right, because Google makes the operating system, but yet let's sue the smaller companies because they're too afraid to go after the giant.
Well, yeah, and I think Steve Jobs always said that he was going to, crush whoever tried to,
Yes.
infringe on his patents, and they're just kind of continuing that.
Right.
I think the
It's
big
good.
winners
Stop
here,
innovation. I appreciate that.
I
Thank
think,
you.
and that's the big problem is like it really does stifle innovation. You
Of
got
course
you
it
got
does.
companies worried to really do anything in case they get sued for billions of dollars.
Right. So thank you for keep doing. Let's see what happens in the
Yeah.
upcoming.
So-
I mean, it's great. It's like watching a title fight.
And the big winners are the lawyers, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're making that's good. That's a great job to have right
Yeah,
now. Samsung and Apple lawyers, your pockets are just overflowing.
But one company that's out of the fight, and they're actually doing a lot of exciting stuff this week, is Microsoft.
Thankfully,
They are
fixing.
they're having their Build conference in San Francisco,
Yep.
it's for a developers conference for people who want to build on Microsoft, and they've made a bunch of, I think, really interesting announcements this week.
Yeah, I think they've been listening to the web. They've been listening to people. They know what they want. We want our start menu back. We want a few things back end.
Well, the start menu is much needed. It's kind of like an amalgamation of Windows 7 and Windows 8. You have like your normal Windows 7 start
Yep.
menu with live tiles.
Yeah.
So it kind of isn't giving up the Windows 8 experience quite
Well, I think it's
fully,
gonna. I
but-
think it's supposedly going to know if you're on a desktop or if you're on a touch device. And if you're on a touch device, it's going to load up the Metro UI.
Mhm.
which is smarter.
Right.
Should have been. I think what happened was they kind of jumped the gun and went straight to a touch device operating system rather than building slowly or having both, and realizing now I guess they're pedaling back a little bit. But it's a good thing because at home I don't have a touch computer, so I'm constantly fighting with Metro UI, thank you, and I have to find ways around it. So yay,
it's much more mouse friendly.
Yeah, it has to be. Thank you for putting it back. Maybe you'll put in a shutdown where I don't have to hit like 9,000 clicks to get to shutting my computer down. So maybe work on that. Are you listening?
There was also are they listening? Okay, well, there was also
let's send this to them.
Yeah, there was also the developers themselves. A big complaint among them has been like, and it's true of iOS too, is they have to develop for a tablet, then they have to develop for the computer, then they have to develop for Windows Phone. Now they're going to tie that all together, and it's up to the developer if they want to charge separate pricing for whatever device you want it on.
That's fair.
And I think that's going to help Windows because, I mean, what we always say in Windows reviews, I feel, when we write them is, and it seems stupid to bring it up all the time, but it's just they don't have a lot of apps compared to Android and iOS. And I think,
it's hard to launch a new operating system with like 4 apps.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they have more than 4.
6.
Anyways,
they have enough, but it's not enough to make me want to jump from either iOS or Android.
And I think they realize that, which is why this is going to be a good way to get developers more interested if they can do
they're going to entice them.
things.
Sure.
So I think that's a big, and they also took covers off Cortana, which is their voice assistant, which I believe we talked about on Decoded before.
We did.
In the 3-hour-long talk they gave at the Build conference,
I'm glad you watched and not me.
Yeah, they went through some uses of Cortana, and it was as you would expect. It did a lot of like Siri and Google Now kind of functionality.
And Google's pretty good.
But I believe it's still in beta, and I think for those of you with Windows devices, all this will be coming to you in the coming months. And I believe for desktops, it's even this month.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I've seen beta already.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it's exciting to see Windows Microsoft getting into the fight again and really trying to.
Yeah, I'm sure the update's going to be great, especially on a desktop. So I'm looking forward to it. And then I think that's it for.
Yeah, those are the big headlines for this week. So come back next week and we will talk more tech.